Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max versus Sony A7 IV, a complete in-depth camera comparison. The Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max and the Sony A7 IV represent two of the most advanced cameras available today, but they are designed with completely different philosophies in mind. The iPhone 17 Pro Max is built to provide incredible image quality with almost no effort from the user. Apple relies heavily on computational photography, artificial intelligence, and advanced image processing to create beautiful photos and videos automatically. The Sony A7 IV, on the other hand, is a professional full-frame mirrorless camera designed to give photographers and videographers complete creative control. Rather than depending primarily on software, the Sony relies on a much larger image sensor, professional-grade optics, interchangeable lenses, and manual camera controls to achieve superior image quality. While both cameras are capable of producing stunning results, they excel in different situations and are intended for different types of users. The camera systems themselves are fundamentally different. The iPhone 17 Pro Max features a triple camera setup consisting of three separate 48-megapixel cameras. Its main wide camera uses a 24mm equivalent focal length with a fast f1.78 aperture and second-generation sensor-shift optical image stabilization. Apple also includes a 48-megapixel ultra-wide camera with a 13mm equivalent focal length, f2.2 aperture, autofocus capability, and dedicated macro photography mode. The third camera is a 48-megapixel telephoto lens featuring Apple's tetraprism design, providing a 100mm equivalent focal length with approximately 4 times optical zoom, optical image stabilization, and high-quality digital crop modes that extend the usable zoom range. On the front, the iPhone features an 18-megapixel true-depth camera with autofocus, night mode, center stage, and 4K video recording. Every photograph captured by the iPhone undergoes extensive computational processing, combining multiple exposures in milliseconds to maximize sharpness, reduce noise, preserve highlights, and brighten shadows before the image is even saved. The Sony A7 IV approaches photography in a completely different way. Instead of using multiple small sensors, it uses a single 33-megapixel full-frame CMOS sensor measuring approximately 35.9 by 23.9 millimeters. This sensor is powered by Sony's Bionz XR image processor and delivers approximately 15 stops of dynamic range while supporting an ISO range of 100 to 51,200, expandable even further when needed. The camera features one of Sony's most advanced autofocus systems, with 759 phase detection autofocus points that cover nearly the entire frame. It includes real-time eye autofocus for humans, animals, birds, and even vehicles, making it exceptionally reliable for tracking moving subjects. The camera also includes 5-axis in-body image stabilization capable of compensating for up to 5.5 stops of camera shake. Unlike the iPhone, which has permanently attached lenses, the Sony uses the Sony E-mount system, allowing photographers to choose from hundreds of interchangeable lenses, ranging from ultra-wide landscape lenses to super telephoto wildlife lenses and specialized macro or portrait lenses. Perhaps the single biggest difference between these two cameras is sensor size. Although the iPhone advertises an impressive 48-megapixel camera, its image sensor is physically much smaller than the Sony's full-frame sensor. The Sony sensor has dramatically more surface area, allowing it to collect significantly more light during every exposure. This larger sensor produces cleaner images with lower noise, smoother tonal transitions, richer colors, and greater overall detail. Physics simply favors the larger sensor, while Apple uses sophisticated computational photography to overcome many of the limitations of its smaller sensor. Software can only compensate so much. The Sony's larger sensor naturally captures more information from the scene before any processing occurs, giving photographers far greater flexibility when editing their images later. Although the iPhone actually captures higher resolution images at 48 megapixels compared to the Sony's 33 megapixels, megapixels alone do not determine image quality. Many people mistakenly assume that more megapixels automatically mean better photographs, but image quality depends much more on sensor size, pixel size, lens quality, and image processing. Because the Sony sensor is significantly larger, each individual pixel gathers far more light than the tiny pixels found in the smartphone sensor. This results in sharper fine detail, smoother textures, better color accuracy, and cleaner files with far less digital noise. Even though the Sony produces fewer megapixels, its images generally contain more usable detail and can withstand heavy cropping or professional editing much better than smartphone images. During bright daylight photography, the gap between these cameras becomes surprisingly small, especially when viewing images on social media or smartphone screens. The iPhone produces vibrant, colorful, and highly detailed photographs with excellent dynamic range thanks to Apple's smart HDR processing. Colors appear rich, skies retain detail, shadows remain bright, and the camera automatically balances exposure without requiring any user input. The Sony also produces outstanding daylight images, but they often appear more natural and realistic rather than heavily processed. Fine textures such as hair, leaves, grass, fabric, and skin retain significantly more detail, while colors appear more accurate and less saturated. On large computer monitors or high-resolution prints, the Sony's superior image quality becomes much more noticeable. Low-light photography is where the Sony A7 IV begins to separate itself dramatically from the iPhone. Because its sensor gathers much more light, it can produce cleaner images with lower ISO settings, less visible noise, better color retention, and greater sharpness in dark environments. Whether photographing indoor events, concerts, weddings, wildlife at sunrise, or nighttime cityscapes, the Sony consistently delivers higher quality images. The iPhone combats darkness using night mode, which automatically captures multiple long exposures and combines them into a single image. This processing creates remarkably bright photos for a smartphone, but moving subjects can become blurry. Fine details may be softened by aggressive noise reduction, and extremely dark scenes still cannot match the performance of a full-frame camera. Dynamic range is another area where the Sony excels. Dynamic range refers to a camera's ability to capture detail in both extremely bright highlights and very dark shadows within the same photograph. The Sony A7 IV can capture approximately 15 stops of dynamic range in RAW format, allowing photographers to recover significant detail during editing. Highlights that initially appear overexposed and shadows that seem completely black often contain usable image data that can be restored later in software such as Adobe Lightroom. The iPhone creates impressive HDR images through computational photography by combining multiple exposures into one photograph. While the results often look excellent straight out of the camera, professional photographers generally have much greater editing flexibility when working with Sony RAW files. Portrait photography also highlights one of the biggest differences between these cameras. The Sony naturally produces beautiful background blur, known as bokeh, because its large sensor and fast interchangeable lenses create shallow depth of field through optical physics. Subjects appear naturally separated from the background with smooth transitions and realistic blur characteristics. The iPhone simulates this effect using portrait mode, where artificial intelligence analyzes the scene and digitally blurs the background. Apple's software has improved tremendously over the years, but it can still occasionally make mistakes around hair, eyeglasses, transparent objects, or fine edges. While the results often look convincing on social media, the Sony's optical background blur remains more natural and aesthetically pleasing. One of the Sony A7 IV's greatest strengths is its lens ecosystem. The iPhone is permanently limited to its built-in ultra-wide, standard, and telephoto cameras. Although these lenses cover most everyday photography situations, users cannot expand beyond what Apple provides. The Sony, however, supports hundreds of interchangeable lenses from Sony, Sigma, Tamron, Zeiss, and many other manufacturers. Photographers can choose specialized portrait lenses with extremely wide apertures, ultra-wide lenses for landscapes and architecture, macro lenses for close-up photography, or super telephoto lenses exceeding 600 millimeters for wildlife and sports. This flexibility allows the Sony to adapt to nearly any photographic situation, something no smartphone can currently achieve. Autofocus performance is excellent on both devices, but the Sony remains superior for demanding situations. The iPhone locks onto faces almost instantly and performs remarkably well for casual photography and family snapshots. However, Sony's advanced real-time tracking autofocus continuously follows people, birds, animals, vehicles, and fast-moving subjects with extraordinary accuracy. This makes the Sony particularly valuable for sports photography, wildlife photography, air shows, motorsports, and other situations involving unpredictable movement where maintaining sharp focus is critical. Video recording is one area where the iPhone challenges dedicated cameras more closely than ever before. The iPhone 17 Pro Max records stunning 4K video at up to 120 frames per second, supports Dolby Vision HDR, Apple Log recording, ProRes, ProRes RAW, spatial video, cinematic mode, and exceptional electronic stabilization. Combined with excellent built-in microphones, audio zoom, wind reduction, and instant editing capabilities, the iPhone has become one of the most capable video production tools available for content creators. The Sony A7 IV, however, still provides greater creative flexibility for professional filmmaking. It records 4K video in 10-bit 422 color, supports S-Log3, S-Cinetone, Hybrid Log Gamma, unlimited recording times under appropriate conditions, interchangeable lenses, superior low-light performance, and significantly greater latitude during color grading. For commercial productions, documentaries, weddings, and cinematic filmmaking, the Sony remains the preferred choice. Battery life also differs considerably between the two devices. While both are capable of extended shooting sessions, the Sony's battery is dedicated solely to photography and videography. Photographers can also carry multiple spare batteries and quickly swap them when needed. The iPhone must simultaneously power its display, processor, wireless communications, applications, notifications, and camera system. Heavy photo or video recording sessions can therefore deplete the battery much more quickly, especially when recording high-resolution ProRes video. Portability, however, is where the iPhone has a significant advantage. It easily fits into a pocket and is almost always with you. There are no additional lenses to carry, no camera bag, no memory cards, and virtually no setup required. This convenience means many memorable moments are captured simply because the camera is immediately available. The Sony A7 IV, while still relatively compact for a professional camera, requires lenses, batteries, memory cards, chargers, and often a dedicated camera bag. It offers far greater photographic capability, but it also demands more preparation and equipment. Image editing is another category where the Sony continues to dominate. Professional photographers overwhelmingly prefer Sony RAW files because they preserve enormous amounts of image data. Exposure can be adjusted significantly, shadows can be recovered, highlights restored, colors corrected, and white balance modified without degrading image quality. Apple's Pro RAW format has dramatically improved smartphone editing flexibility compared to standard JPEG or HEIF images, but it still cannot match the editing latitude provided by a full-frame RAW file captured by the Sony. Ease of use may be the iPhone's greatest strength. Nearly anyone can take exceptional photographs simply by opening the camera app and pressing the shutter button. Apple's software automatically handles exposure, white balance, HDR, stabilization, noise reduction, sharpening, subject detection, and color processing without requiring any technical knowledge. The Sony A7 IV, in contrast, offers complete manual control over shutter speed, aperture, ISO, autofocus modes, metering, white balance, picture profiles, and countless other settings. While this creates a steeper learning curve, it also allows experienced photographers to produce images impossible to achieve with a fully automated smartphone camera. Ultimately, choosing between the Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max and the Sony A7 IV depends entirely on your needs and expectations. If your primary goal is capturing beautiful photos and videos effortlessly for social media, family memories, travel, or everyday life, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is one of the finest cameras ever placed inside a smartphone. It delivers remarkable image quality, industry-leading computational photography, outstanding video performance, and unmatched convenience in a device that fits comfortably in your pocket. However, if you're passionate about photography, plan to shoot professionally, print large images, photograph wildlife or sports, work extensively with RAW files, or simply want the highest image quality possible, the Sony A7 IV remains in an entirely different class. Its full-frame sensor, interchangeable lenses, exceptional low-light performance, superior autofocus, greater dynamic range, and professional-level creative control produce results that smartphones, even the most advanced ones, still cannot fully replicate. The iPhone has narrowed the gap more than ever before, but the Sony A7 IV continues to be the clear choice for photographers and filmmakers who demand the highest level of performance and image quality.